please like and subscribe. Chapter 11, Rotten Uchiha. Seeing someone from the same clan as him, and from the Uchiha police force at that which he believed was supposed to be protecting the civilians not harming them made Sasuke extremely angry, so he stepped in the man's way and yelled at him, "What do you think you are doing?" The man felt annoyed with the kid yelling at him and was about to kick Sasuke away, but when he saw his face, he froze, because he recognized who this childish face belonged to. The youngest son of the Uchiha clan head and the little brother of the greatest genius in the village, Itachi Uchiha. The man's face crumbled and turned pale, realizing he was about to hit him just now, making him sigh in relief for the shuriken he just dodged, but he would still be punished if this is reported to Fugaku directly, so he was still worried. Just what is Sasuke doing here, he thought before he nervously said, I am just teaching them a lesson to make them behave properly next time. Sasuke was having none of his BS and yelled again, "You are a member of the Uchiha police force. You are supposed to be helping civilians, not assaulting them when they bump into you accidentally." I noticed the man getting annoyed by Sasuke yelling at him, but he quickly tried to hide it, knowing that he can't do anything in this situation. As for the people around watching this from the start without doing anything to help the kids, they nodded approvingly at Sasuke, making me want to puke. The man quickly calmed himself down, and his eyes lit up for an instant after remembering Sasuke's age, so he put on an apologetic face and bowed to Sasuke while saying with a regretful voice, "I am very sorry, I won't do it again. Can you let it slide this time, please?" Sasuke, being only 5 and inexperienced with social matters, was embarrassed by this grown-up man bowing and apologizing to him, and it resulted in him responding by a snort and saying, "Humph, if I see you bullying anyone again, I will tell my father and brother." The man nodded his head and thanked Sasuke profusely before he quickly ran away with his tail between his legs. I didn't interfere from start to finish and simply watched coldly while deep in thought. The Uchiha clan has many rotten members too, no matter if this haughty behavior came from them taking pride in their bloodline, or because of the oppression from the village, or both. Treating kids like this is unforgivable. I need to deal with these tumors quickly. Sasuke turned back and looked at me, and I simply walked towards the kids while gesturing for him to follow me and Naruto. They were 2 boys and a girl around 6 to 7 years old in shabby clothing. The girl was holding her tiny stomach in pain while the 2 other kids were kneeling beside her with worried faces. They looked at us and one of boys said with tears in his eyes, "Please help Mika, she's in so much pain." Naruto and Sasuke both looked at me since they didn't have a way to help her. I knelt beside the suffering girl and took 2 pills stealthily from the inventory. These 2 I bought in huge quantity from a medicine store for my training. One is a painkiller while the other is a pill that helps quicken recovery. After the girl ate the pills, her pale complexion started turning back to normal and her frowning brows relaxed a little, so I asked the 2 boys, "She still can't walk properly and she needs some rest, but she will be fine soon." I heard a weak voice say, "Thank you." It was the girl. I nodded at her. "You are welcome. Are you 3 orphans?" They nodded at the same time and one of the boys responded, "Yes, we live in the orphanage, not far from here." Well, I guess this much from their clothes, we were on our way there. "Would you please show us the way?" The boys quickly said with enthusiasm, "Leave it to us." I picked the girl on my back, which caught her by surprise and made her embarrassed a little, but I didn't notice because at this moment I thought this girl is really light for her age. It seems the situation in the orphanage isn't a simple lack of clothing, and we started walking again while hearing Naruto and Sasuke bickering, with Naruto saying, "Why did you let him go away?" and Sasuke responding by, "None of your business," and before long that bickering turned into fighting and I had to stop them before I get a headache. After we arrived at the orphanage, I explained what happened to the girl to the caretaker and said goodbye to the kids before I asked for some information about the situation and the number of kids here, since I wanted to send some food and clothes to kids here, resulting in the caretaker thanking me over and over again. With that over, I spent the rest of the morning training with both Sasuke and Naruto before each of us went back home. Meanwhile, inside of the Hokage tower, the 3rd Hokage was sitting on his desk while sorting out some files until a knocking came at his door and he said, "Come in." The door opened and a man in Umbu uniform entered. He had silver hair, a lean but muscular body, and wore a lion dog mask outlined in red and black, with a curling mouth and slanted eyes. 2 streaks make whisker-like marks at the cheeks, and sharp little ears lift into his hair. The eyes are cut a little wider to accommodate the Sharingan he has in on eye. This was Kakashi Hatake, the future leader of Team 7, but currently he was no more than a shadow of his former genius self because of all the tragedies in his life. Kakashi knelt in front of the Hokage and started reporting. Recently, Naruto got closer to an Uchiha kid around his age. How do you want this to be handled, Sandaime-sama? Sarutobi looked surprised and asked, oh, someone actually approached Naruto? No, according to my investigation, Naruto was the one who approached that kid's shop, Kakashi said. Sarutobi looked surprised again. You said he's Naruto's age and yet he already has a shop? Yes, he owns a pastry shop which quickly got famous, and some people are already even saying it's the best pastry shop in Konoha. Naruto visited that place many times until yesterday. Bakorio Uchiha noticed him staring at his shop and invited him in. Later that day he visited Naruto's house and even took him to eat dinner at a ramen stall, while today, they visited the orphanage alongside another kid. Itachi's little brother, Sasuke Uchiha. Kakashi reported everything that happened the past few days since he was in charge of supervising and protecting Naruto. Sarutobi was deep in thoughts before he said, did you investigate that kid? Yes, he is an orphan. His parents died at the incident 5 years ago while helping escorting the civilians, and he lives alone in the Uchiha compound. Sarutobi seemed relieved about something and said, it seems this kid felt sad for Naruto because he's also an orphan. Keep an eye on them just in case, but don't interfere unless you can confirm the involvement of the Uchiha leaders. Kakashi quickly saluted and said yes sir before his body flickered away from the office, leaving the third Hokage deep in thoughts. Chapter 12, Power Up. Back in the Uchiha compound after my training with Naruto and Sasuke, I decided to check if I completed any quests after this sequence of events. Quests I said in my head and directly entered the completed section and I found a few. Quest friend of the protagonist 2, befriend 2 of the main characters in this world, reward 300 points plus additional reward, depending on the befriended characters, completed. Quest friend of a tailed beast 1, befriend 1 tailed beast from this world, reward 500 points plus additional reward, depending on the befriended beast, completed. Quest path of a lord 1, gain 1 trusted follower that won't betray you. Reward 1000 points plus additional reward, completed. Quest path of a lord 2, gain 2 trusted followers that won't betray you, reward 3000 points plus additional reward, completed. I was surprised at all the quests I completed and at the same time delighted by one in particular, the quest, Path of the Lord. If I am not wrong is thanks to Minato and Kushina, and knowing how the system works it means I can trust them in the future, which is great. Accept all rewards I said in my head and I received a notification. You received 4,800 points, Azura's Chakra, Inheritor of Kurama, Nervous System Enhancement, Advanced Sealing Talent. Azura's Chakra hugely increased the user's affinity towards nature's energy. Inheritor of Kurama, raise the body and chakra talent by 2 levels and grants an additional increase in physical and spiritual abilities. Nervous System Enhancement, enhance the reaction and information processing speed by 25 times. The advanced sealing talent is self-explanatory and I didn't hesitate to use everything one by one starting by it. Then I used Azura's Chakra. I felt something circulating in my body before it stopped at my forehead and I felt so focused like never before. Soon I started feeling a new type of energy in the air I never felt before, different from the normal elements, and sensed a strong desire from my body wanting to absorb it, but I held myself back to continue using my other rewards first. Next I used Inheritor of Kurama and I felt both my body and soul burning, but it wasn't painful for some reason. Slowly my body started changing, my muscles started enlarging then tightening and bigger changes were happening inside my body, my bones density increased to terrifying degrees, my nerves and skin and chakra channels kept disintegrating and regenerating and my organs transformed each in different ways. My blood kept evaporating and condensing. As for my soul I can't even imagine how it changed, but I felt even more connected to my body, giving me a feeling of completeness. The process lasted for an hour before it ended and I felt like the difference between the current me and me before is like night and day. All my senses were strengthened to a terrifying degree. I can see so far yet clearly, and the same with my hearing. I can hear what the people in houses around are saying clearly, making me feel like a creep. As for my smell, I can smell different scents in a huge radius around me and even differentiate between each of them. Not to mention the terrible strength coursing through every inch of my body, making me feel invincible even though I know I am far from it. Seeing myself almost drunk in the feeling of power, I quickly calmed myself and couldn't help but grin, thinking the risk I took was really worth it. I can tell my reaction and information processing speed were greatly enhanced from this power-up. Just how broken I am going to become after the nervous system enhancement. I thought while quickly using it because I couldn't wait anymore. I suddenly felt all my nerves heating up, and this time, it caused me a terrible pain which I didn't expect since the previous power-up was painless for some reason, but I couldn't ponder it for long because I directly fainted and fell on the floor. 24 hours later. I woke up in a room I didn't recognize, and with my new enhanced senses I could hear a female's voice in another room I recognized as Makoto Uchiha. Will Bakorio-kun really be okay? He's been in this state for a whole day now. The man she's talking to replied with a reassuring look, "Don't worry Makoto, the doctor said that he's not in pain anymore and will wake up soon." Makoto heaved a sigh of relief before she looked at her husband worriedly. "Husband, do you think someone attacked Bakorio-kun?" Fugaku had a dangerous flash in his eyes for an instant before he said, "We will know when Bakorio wakes up. Let not assume anything for now, but whether he himself believed in what he said, no one knows except for him." Suddenly they heard footsteps coming from the stairs, and before long they become delighted, and Makoto rushed to the kid and hugged him tightly with teary eyes. Looking at the woman hugging me and telling me how worried she was about me, I couldn't help but feel my cold heart warming up, and I patted her back saying, "I am okay now, Makoto-san, don't worry." Fugaku looked at me and said with a smile, "I am glad you are okay. We were really worried. Sasuke couldn't even train like he's used to." I left Makoto's hug and said with a warm smile, "Thank you for worrying about me, it really makes me happy." Fugaku nodded at me and we sat together around the table again, and I asked curiously, "Where's Sasuke?" Makoto chuckled softly and said he was so worried. He wanted to make sure you get the best medicine, so he went to buy them himself. "Right, even if you are feeling well right now you should take your medicine later, okay?" Makoto finished saying with a stern face, not accepting no for an answer, and I accepted her request since I know she's still worried. Suddenly Fugaku said seriously, "Bakorio, how did you end up like that? Did someone attack you?" Everything is so slow. I thought thanks to my new processing speed I could think of many reasons in an instant, but I went with the most believable one, saying I lately bought some heavy weights and trained with Sasuke and Naruto for the whole morning while wearing them, so when I got home I felt very drained, and the moment I removed them I fainted without even realizing it. Hearing the reason for me fainting wasn't from someone attacking me made them heave a sigh of relief, but at the same time Makoto became angry, but she calmed herself and said, "Bakorio-kun, why did you train recklessly like this?" I said, "Because I want to become strong." Her anger rose again and she said, "You are only 5 years old, you shouldn't be worried about getting strong." I looked at her deeply. "Makoto-san, do you really believe we are living in a period where you can live even if you are weak? Unfortunately, it's very clear to me that the clan's future is not optimistic, and I need strength to change it, and protect those I care about in it." Looking at my seriousness, both Makoto and Fugaku were speechless, since even Itachi didn't show this level of intelligence at such a young age, and at the same time it made them delighted that he was training to help the clan's situation, making Makoto feeling bad for getting angry at him, while Fugaku asked seriously, "Bakorio, how much do you know about the clan's current situation in the village?" "I know more than you, that's for sure," I thought inwardly and responded, "I know a lot. Let's see what this young man thinks, maybe he will help me find a way to deal with this helpless situation." Fugaku thought, feeling sad at his life trying to consult a 5 years old. "Well, where should I start from?" Chapter 13, Taking the First Steps. I quickly organized my mind about what to say and what to leave, since being too informed will be suspicious, so I started explaining by stating the obvious. First of all, the fact that we were banished to the outskirts of the village has a very clear meaning. Konoha's council, and even the Hokage do not trust us, and according to the information I gathered, the situation was similar even before the Nine Tails incident, but they used the incident as a leverage to corner our clan without even a proof of our involvement in it, and removed whatever authority we had left except for the police force, which I will discuss in a moment. Now, if we rely on history alone, tension between our clan and the village started because of Madara Uchiha defecting, or so how the village would like to make it seem, but there was no reason for further conflict, yet somehow it never stopped. I thought hard about this. At first I thought it was the Senju clan's doing, but that poor clan, which was the main founder along with our Uchiha clan, is already exterminated, with only Tsunade Senju still alive somewhere since she left the village, so I wondered, how is it possible for a clan as strong as the Senju, famous for their vitality, die out like this even though their clan members were married to many other families in the village? It's impossible to happen naturally, so it's obvious someone was behind it, and there is only 3 possible culprits that had enough power at that time to do this. First, the third Hokage, second, the Elders Council, and third is our clan. but I know it's not our clan, so that leaves either the third Hokage or the Elders Council. Whoever it was, it's impossible for the third Hokage to not know, so that guy is very shady to me. As for from the Elders Council, I think the biggest suspect is Danzo with his root organization, plus I am sure they killed a lot of people legally by throwing them in the front lines at the second and third ninja wars like they did to us. As for the motivation to eliminate us, there are two possibilities. One, they are after our bloodlines, and second is to have all the power in the village, and either way they will try to exterminate us. That's what I know. Makoto and Fugaku's faces kept changing, starting from curious to dumbfounded, to shock and lastly horror, realizing that whatever hope they had for the village was pointless, and they stayed silent for a long time before Makoto asked worriedly, Bakorio-kun, what do you think we should do? And at this moment Fugaku too raised his head from his contemplation and looked at me, hoping I have solution to this predicament since I could think about the situation this well. I looked at her thoughtfully and said, right now we should first fix our reputation in the village, and this brings me to the situation of our police force. It's causing more harm than good to us, especially with how some of their members use their authority to bully villagers. I don't know if Sasuke told you this or not, but yesterday, I took both Sasuke and Naruto to the orphanage, and on the way there we came across a member from the police hitting orphan kids just because they accidentally bumped into him, and under the watch of many people at that. People like this should be dealt with properly, or they will drag the whole clan down. Both Makoto and Fugaku looked very angry after I explained yesterday's incident, and I continued saying, while this time I looked at Fugaku deeply, and remember this, having a strong enemy is way better than having an unreliable friend. Fugaku's eyes flickered sadly for a moment before he calmed down. Well, I guess you got my meaning, I thought, and Fugaku said coldly, after getting banished to the outskirts, the other elders of our clan became lenient and ignored these kind of incidents, but we can't afford to tolerate this behavior anymore and give our enemy a reason to deal with us, so I will make sure to fix it no matter what. I looked at him with a smile and said, good, and don't worry, I also have other plans to raise the clan's reputation. The silent Makoto looked at me curiously and said, how do you plan to do so, Bakorio-kun? I plan to open new branches for my pastry shop and even other kinds of food shops, and select people from our clan with good temperament to work there. I will raise their pay depending on how good the feedback from their customers is. This way it will push them to act better with people without us ordering them, and no one will suspect that our real purpose is to raise our reputation, since even our workers won't know. But you shouldn't tell anyone, not even Sasuke or Itachi. What do you think? I said, and I could see both their eyes light up. Makoto looked at me excitedly and said, Bakorio-kun, you are amazing. Can you please let me help in this project? I nodded with a smile. Of course, you will make my job easier managing different shops. And she smiled happily at my agreement. While Makoto thought this was a good solution, Fugaku was thinking deeper. Does he not trust the clan? Do we have spies? He's being too cautious, but I think this is for the better. For some reason it made him think about his eldest son Itachi, but he tried to dismiss those thoughts for now. We discussed some more, and reached an agreement on how many shops we should buy and who to hire as workers, and only stopped when Sasuke came in with a serious look, saying I am back. Before it quickly turned to happiness when I called him like a certain scorpion. Yo Sasuke, come over here. Bakorio, how are you feeling right now? He asked worriedly. Don't worry, I was just taking a nap, I responded with a smile. You call being in a coma for the whole day a nap? He said with some anger, making him look cute. Oh man, you should see me when I sleep. I hibernate for entire seasons, I said with a grin, making him even more annoyed by my teasing. Let's train together later, okay? I said, and ruffled his hair until I felt a chill down my back and saw Makoto smiling at me in a very sadistic way. Bakorio-kun, what do you mean train later? She said. I weakly smiled at her and said I meant train our eating and sleeping skills. Of course, she smiled satisfied with my answer before she left to prepare us some lunch, while Fugaku went out to prepare what we planned, and so I found myself alone with Sasuke. So I asked him, how's Naruto doing? Sasuke snorted and said, he's doing fine. He was worried about you and wanted to come with me to our clan, but we met the Hokage on our way and he took Naruto with him. I nodded at him, while inside I thought with a grin, your good cop bad cop attitude won't work anymore. Hiruzen, Minato and Kushina are able to communicate with Naruto at any time. They will make sure that you will get no information. Chapter 14, Misleading the Hokage and Progress. As I was enjoying my lunch with Makoto and Sasuke, somewhere else inside of Konoha, an old man wearing a hat and Haori with a red, full-length kimono that is tied using a white sash was walking towards a simple but popular restaurant with the name Ichiraku Ramen while holding a smoking pipe. Alongside him walked a little kid with spiky blonde hair, and from his face, he seemed to be in a bad mood for some reason, even though many in his position would be happy walking alongside this old man. They both took a seat on the stall and Hiruzen said with a warm smile, "It's been a while since I took you out for ramen, Naruto. How you are doing these days?" Naruto didn't even look at him and said, "I'm fine." Hiruzen looked surprised, because this sad kid, which used to be easy to get close to, suddenly became distant, so he said, "Let's order first," and so they ordered, while thinking after Naruto sees the food his mood will improve. Yet as the ramen was quickly prepared by the skilled Tuchi and served in front of them, Naruto was still in the same bad mood, making Hiruzen frown secretly, so he asked, "You seem to be in a bad mood, did something happen?" Naruto, who was about to start eating, suddenly stopped and said while glaring at Hiruzen, "Yes, my friend is sick and I was in my way to visit him with Sasuke, but you just had to appear at that time. Were you following me or what?" Hiruzen's eyes flickered at the question and thought, well, of course I won't let you enter the Uchiha compound alone, but was this question a coincidence? Yeah, it's just Naruto, it's impossible for him to really mean something like this, but what Hiruzen didn't know is that this is far from a coincidence. Hiruzen quickly regained his cool and said with an apologetic look, "I'm sorry, I didn't know your friend is sick. Want to tell me what happened? Let's gather some information while we are at it on this new Uchiha kid." Naruto was genuinely sad and said, "I don't know, even Sasuke doesn't know. Yesterday when Sasuke's mother went to visit him, she found him passed out in his house, and Sasuke said the doctors didn't understand what's wrong with him, so today Sasuke was sent to buy medicine for Bakorio and I was going to accompany him. It doesn't seem like this was planned to lure the Jinchuriki inside their compounds, maybe we just overreacted, but better safe than sorry," Hiruzen thought and said, "I see, I hope he's doing well. It seems you really like these friends you made?" Meanwhile inside Naruto's seal, Kushina was getting really mad at how blatantly Hiruzen was interrogating Naruto in the guise of a harmless old man, while Minato kept trying to calm her down with a weak smile hiding behind it the coldness growing in his heart. Naruto with a stuffed face said, "Yes, I like Bakorio, as for Sasuke, he's just annoying." Hiruzen said, "Oh, it seems this Bakorio is really amazing for you to like him this much." Naruto's eyes lit up before they dimmed again, and while eating he said, "Yes, Bakorio is the nicest person I know. I just wish he wasn't obsessed with money and rather be more talented than Sasuke so we could beat him up." Oh, good to know another monster isn't going to come out from the Uchiha clan. Dealing with Shisui and Itachi is hard enough, Hiruzen thought, but found something weird and asked, "What do you mean obsessed with money?" Naruto stuffed his face with food again to hide his expression as his father ordered him and said, "Well, munch munch, he always says his dream is to become the richest man in the world." At this moment Hiruzen remembered that the kid already has a pastry shop and thought, he's simply someone who wants to make money. Maybe he will end up as a businessman or something, either way nothing to be worried about, and decided to end this conversation since he got what he wanted. "I see, well I have to leave now since I have work to do. Goodbye Naruto, may the will of fire burn on all of you," Hiruzen said, paid the bill for the ramen they ate and left while smoking from his pipe. "Burn your ass, you dirty old man," screamed Kushina and said with an angry look, "Bakorio was right, the Hokage really doesn't care about our little Naruto." Minato nodded agreeing with her and she followed saying, "I told you it wasn't worth it to sacrifice yourself and leave Naruto alone to these people." Minato gave her a guilty look and said, "I am sorry Kushina, let's just hope Bakorio-kun can really help make new bodies for us so we can take care of Naruto properly." Kushina nodded with expectations in her eyes and asked her husband, "Do you really intend to work for him?" Minato nodded, "I made a promise, plus we are really indebted to him for giving us the chance to take care of Naruto, so as long as it's not harming innocents, I will help with anything he needs." Kushina looked at her husband approvingly and said, "Yes, we are really indebted to him, helping him is the least we can do, let's see what he needs when we meet him next time." Minato nodded at her before they started talking with Naruto about various things. Back at the Uchiha clan head's house, I was finally back alone in the room I woke up in and had time to check my progress, so I said in my head. Status. Name, Bakorio Uchiha. Health, 7,800, plus 100 per minute. Chakra, 11,800, plus 160 per minute. Stamina, 3,000, plus 40/min. Attributes, Strength 120/Agility 100/Physique 200/Vitality 250/Stamina 300/Spirit 400. Skills, Throwing Art Level 37, Slithering Throwing Art Level 19, Close Combat Fighting Level 61, Water Bullet Jutsu Level 15, Clone Clone Jutsu Level 1, Transformation Jutsu Level 1, Shadow Clone Jutsu Level 1, Cooking Level 21, Chakra Control Level 19, Meditation Level 21. Abilities, Save and Load, Map. Bloodline, Uchiha 50%. Talents, Chakra Master. Body Great Master, Cooking Advanced, Sealing Advanced, **. I was surprised at how crazy my attributes has risen. With these attributes, if I had only high agility but average strength I would still be as strong as Lee at the Chunin exams, but with both high strength and agility I should be capable of dealing with special Jonin level ninja, add to that my physique and vitality and then I would simply be a war machine if unleashed on a battlefield, but if we add my senses and reaction speeds, even I can't estimate how strong I am right now since fighting isn't just about attributes, in the ninja world. Unless you have a crazy defense like a Susanoo or something, tactics will allow you to skip levels easily. I also noticed that my attributes gave me more health and chakra than previously, probably because of the increase in my chakra and body talents. Now I think my chakra is at Jonin level. I only lack some ninjutsu and more practice on my control, which I believe will be easier with my current level of talent. Satisfied with my progress, I started thinking what my next course of action should be. Learn as much as I could from Minato and Kushina since I am lacking a lot in ninjutsu and seals while training my body to reach Jonin level with it alone and even elite Jonin if possible, expand my business, and finally collect information on a very dangerous person with an even more dangerous ability. I thought, of course, I was thinking of one of the two people with a Mangekyo Sharingan in the clan. Shursui Uchiha. Chapter 15, New Training. While I was planning my future and recovering under the watch of Makoto and Sasuke, a conversation was ongoing between Hiruzen, who just got back to his office, and a frail old man using a cane to support himself. He had black, shaggy hair, and his right eye was bandaged, concealing a Sharingan underneath. On his face he has an X-shaped scar on his chin, something he had ever since his youth. He wore a white shirt, with a black robe over the top of it covering from his feet to just over his right shoulder. The robe conceals his right arm, which was bandaged and covered with 3 large golden braces, an arm that would be implanted with Uchiha eyes in a normal future. This was the titled darkness of the shinobi Shimura Danzo. We can't let the Jinchuriki stay close with those Uchiha kids. Who knows if they were trying to draw him inside their compounds or not. And with the village weakened, this is a great opportunity for them to rebel against the village, Danzo said with anger apparent on his face. No matter how much Danzo is hated, he is a very smart and shrewd person, for the Uchiha in the future will really plan to use the 9 tails in their rebellion and control it through Fugaku's Mangekyo Sharingan. Unfortunately Itachi betrayed them and relayed this information to the elders directly. Danzo, you shouldn't be too distrustful. After all, the Uchiha are our comrades in arms, but you are right, we can't allow the Jinchuriki alone in the Uchiha compounds, so I will ask Kakashi to be careful and talk with Shursui and Itachi to act as backup if needed, since they can be trusted. Now that I think about it, I was planning on inviting Itachi into Umbu when he grows up a little more, but it seems like I have to do it earlier. He's more than qualified with his current strength anyways. What do you think, Danzo, said Hiruzen. No. Hiruzen, you are taking a huge risk relying only on the strength of a few kids to protect the Jinchuriki, and they might even betray us. It's better if you give him to me. I will train him and make sure he's loyal to the village, and we won't need to worry about all these things, said Danzo, trying to take Naruto into his route and brainwash him. Enough. You think I don't know who's spreading all those rumors on the kid? You already made his life hard enough by isolating him like that, and now you want to ruin it completely. I already failed my promise to his parents, but I won't fail it more than it is already, Hiruzen replied with anger. Danzo tried to make a case for himself, but Hiruzen quickly cut him off and dismissed him while saying, this is an order. Danzo, don't do anything stupid right now. The situation in the village is already bad enough. Danzo snorted and left without saying anything, with a cold look in his visible eye. If you don't want to act, I will act myself, thought, while remembering the information he got on the kid who caused this situation. Next morning I had a talk with Fugaku about the preparations for the business, and he said that he's in the process of choosing workers from the clan and I can start selecting from them starting tomorrow, making me surprised at how fast he works, but maybe he's very stressed from the situation even though he keeps a stoic face. For the shops, we decided on 3 to expand the pastry business and the remaining 1 to start a new business. I was planning to make it an Italian restaurant, which is something new here and would cause a huge impact. After we were done with our discussion, I asked Fugaku if I could visit the clan library and he accepted without hesitation, making me excited at the different jutsus I can learn there. Then I insisted to Makoto and Sasuke that I was fine and left to my home, but not before promising to come back to train with Sasuke. When I got back home, the first thing I did was to use the new jutsu I got from Minato, the Shadow Clone Jutsu, and with my Jonin level chakra and very low mastery, I was barely able to make 2 shadow clones. Looking at the clones in front of me and seeing the similar curious looks in their eyes reminded me of just how magical and different this world I was currently in. I quickly snapped out of my daze and gave each clone his tasks. First clone, go back and visit the Uchiha clan library with Sasuke and learn as much as you can from there. And keep an eye on Itachi if you meet him. Second clone, go and reopen my pastry shop, and when you are done visit Naruto and learn as much as you can from Minato and Kushina. Understood, they replied at the same time before each left to do his tasks. I need to fix the problem of my shop not working without me there. Hopefully I will find trusted workers tomorrow to pass on some of my recipes, I thought. Now that I have nothing holding my real body back, the real training shall begin. I stealthily left my house undetected thanks to my map and senses towards a deserted area surrounded by trees. Opening the shop function, I quickly bought new weights since the old ones weren't useful anymore and focused all my energy on testing and training. First I wanted to see how hard my body was, so I retrieved a sharp kunai from my pocket and started stabbing it slowly in my arm, and it took all my effort for it to puncture my skin, but I couldn't push it further through my muscles, and the moment I removed it only took 3 or 4 seconds for my skin to go back to normal, making me excited at the effect of my high physique and vitality. With that out of the way, I put on my weights and started a grueling training regimen for my body and chakra control. Training my body is obvious. As for chakra control, I started walking on a pond each time with different weights on me, and when I get used to them I start jumping and doing all kind of movements on the water, and thanks to my huge talent and perception my control kept rising at a dramatic speed, and so is my physical strength. With the increase of my body talent to great master level, 1 day of training is the same as 16 days by my previous talent. Add to that I am training almost double the time since I am free thanks to my clones. Just this 1 day of training is equivalent to all my hard work this past month. At the evening both my clones returned home and dispelled themselves, and I got all of their knowledge and experience, but I ignored it for now and started focusing on training something else. My Shadow Clone Jutsu. So without hesitation, I started using it and analyzing the way I am doing it, causing its level to start rising quickly, signifying I am wasting less and less chakra and my clones are becoming more durable, and by the time night fell I was capable of creating 4 clones.